The air in the newly discovered chamber was thick with the weight of 5,000 years, undisturbed and electric. Doctor. Amara Khalil pressed her palm against the seamless black stone that formed the far wall, her breath catching in her throat. The laser scans had shown a hollow space behind the Great Pyramid's Queen's chamber, a void that shouldn't exist, defying every known survey. Now, after 3 months of delicate robotic excavation, she stood inside it. The chamber was a perfect cube, 20 meters on each side, lined with an obsidian-like material that reflected no light. At its center, a pedestal of the same substance rose from the floor, and atop it rested a crystalline sphere the size of a human heart, pulsing with a faint internal blue glow. Hieroglyphs covered every surface, but not the elegant carvings of the Old Kingdom. These were sharp, angular, almost mathematical, a language Amara had never seen in 30 years of Egyptological study. "Dr. Khalil?" The voice of her assistant, Yusuf, crackled through her earpiece. "The energy readings are spiking. Whatever that sphere is, it just drew a massive surge from the bedrock. The whole Giza plateau is vibrating." Amara pulled her hand back. The stone was warm, alive. "Get the Supreme Council of Antiquities on the line, now, and tell the military liaison we found something that changes everything." The sphere flared brighter, and a low hum filled the room. In the glow, Amara saw a final set of symbols circling the pedestal's base. She recognized the ancient Egyptian glyph for return. Below it, a sequence of notches, a countdown that ended in exactly 72 hours. 3 days later, the sky burned. A ship the size of Cairo materialized beyond the moon, its hull a chitinous black spiral that swallowed starlight. Every telescope on Earth tracked its descent, and the world held a collective breath. The United Nations emergency session dissolved into chaos within minutes. When the first broadcast came, it didn't arrive through radio or digital signal. It spoke directly inside the minds of every human being on the planet, in flawless, emotionless English. "Children of Sol 3, your harvest gate activates. The cycle concludes. The Ether Confederacy claims this world and all biological assets within its gravity well. Do not resist. Your existence will be repurposed for the greater harmony." The message looped. Military satellites fired nuclear missiles, the best humanity could muster on short notice. The warheads crossed the lunar distance and detonated harmlessly against an invisible shell around the alien vessel, their explosions little more than fireflies. In response, the ship deployed landers, dozens of them dropping like black teardrops toward major population centers. Panic swept the globe, but beneath Giza, Amara Khalil did not run. She stood in the cube chamber with a hastily assembled team. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a linguist who specialized in Proto-Sumerian cross-references. Major Chen Y, a no-nonsense Chinese Special Forces officer assigned as protection. And Dr. Ibrahim Okonkwo, a Nigerian geophysicist whose work on planetary resonance had been dismissed as fringe science. The sphere was now blazing with light, projecting a star map onto the walls. Constellations shifted and realigned, showing Earth at the center of a vast, pulsing network. "They call it a harvest gate," Elena said, her tablet scanning the angular glyphs. "The grammar is derivative of what we see in the Sumerian king lists, but it's older. Much older. This isn't just a monument. It's a machine designed to extract biosignatures, life force. They planted it here eons ago, let human civilization grow like a crop, and now they've come to reap." Major Chen's jaw tightened. "So we're cattle in a pen and the barn door just opened. Can we destroy it?" "If we blow this chamber, we might take out the whole Giza plateau," Ibrahim said, adjusting a portable seismograph. "And I'm not sure that would stop it. The pyramid isn't just this structure. The energy signature is linked to a global grid. Look." His tablet showed a wireframe of Earth with glowing nodes. Giza was the brightest, but other points pulsed in synchronicity. Teotihuacan in Mexico, the stepped pyramids of China's Qinling Mountains, the submerged Yonaguni structures in Japan, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, and dozens more. All were interconnected by ley lines that formed a web of power. The planet itself was the machine. "They planted them worldwide," Amara whispered. 13,000 years ago, when humanity was just emerging from the Ice Age. They built these as part of a single colossal mechanism. Elena traced a series of glyphs near the floor, her face pale. "There's more. This script is mixed. The outer layer is pure ether language, the aliens' instructions. But underneath, carved first and then covered, there's another text. It's human." Everyone stared. Elena expanded her tablet's translation matrix. "The grammar is archaic, but it shares root morphology with Proto-Afroasiatic languages. It's a message, left by the people who actually built the pyramids." "The Egyptians didn't have this kind of technology," Major Chen said flatly. "No," Amara said, a strange fire kindling in her eyes. "But their ancestors did. We've always known the Great Pyramid was a feat of engineering that even modern construction would struggle to replicate. What if the civilization that built it was not primitive? What if it was the remnant of something greater? A human culture that the ether tried to enslave and failed. The chamber's hum deepened and the crystalline sphere rotated, revealing a hidden facet. Beams of light struck the walls, and suddenly they were not alone. A holographic figure appeared, a tall, dark-skinned man with regal features, dressed in a simple linen kilt but wearing a headpiece Amara had never seen in any tomb painting, a circlet of woven gold, studded with crystals identical to the sphere. He spoke, and his voice was recorded light and vibration, translated automatically by the sphere into their minds. I am Aken-Ra, last architect of the human resistance. If you witness this, the 5,000-year count has expired and the ether return. Do not despair. We prepared for this day. We turned their trap into our sword. The recording continued. Aken-Ra told a story that rewrote history. 13 millennia ago, the Ether Confederacy arrived on Earth. They were not gods, though they seemed so to early humans. They were resource extractors, and their technology operated on a principle of vibrational resonance, converting the bioelectrical energy of living organisms into a concentrated power source they called essence. They found Earth teeming with life and a species, Homo sapiens, whose neural complexity generated an unparalleled richness of essence. The ether posed as divine beings, taught humanity agriculture, mathematics, and architecture, and demanded construction of the pyramids as temples. In truth, the pyramids were amplifiers, designed to tune the planet's magnetic field into a massive extraction grid. When the grid activated, every sentient being on Earth would be harvested, their consciousness stripped and rendered into pure energy for the ether's cosmic engines. But the ether underestimated human adaptability. Aken-Ra and a clandestine network of rebel engineers, priests, and astronomers spent generations studying the invaders' science. They discovered a crucial flaw. The harvest grid used harmonic frequencies that could be inverted. If one resonated the pyramid network at a specific counter frequency, it would not extract life force, but instead project a planetary shield, a resonance envelope that could deflect any energy weapon and even reflect it back amplified. The rebellion was brutal. Human armies armed with stolen ether technology fought a guerrilla war, and eventually they seized the Giza Prime Pyramid, the master control node. Aken-Ra reprogrammed the network, reversing its polarity. The ether fleet, in the middle of initiating a harvest cycle, was hit by their own reflected power. A catastrophic feedback loop destroyed their command ship and sent the survivors fleeing into deep space, leaving behind a single automated beacon that would reactivate after 5,000 years, once the grid's energy reserves naturally built back up. We could not destroy the grid, Aken-Ra said, his holographic eyes heavy with ancient sorrow. Nor did we wish to. We saw that one day humanity would need this shield to defend our world, not just from the ether, but from whatever threats the cosmos holds. So we sealed the controls, hid the knowledge in myth and stone, and encoded the final key in the one thing the ether would never think to analyze, our own voices. Elena's breath hitched. The pyramid texts, the coffin texts, all those funerary chants about ascending to the stars, opening the mouth. The gods of resonance. It was a phonetic key, a vocal code. They couldn't use it because the ether communicate telepathically. They have no vocal cords, no music, Amara realized. The security system required a living human voice, singing the exact pitches and patterns. That's why they left the sphere. It's waiting for the right sound. Major Chen stepped forward, his pragmatism warring with disbelief. And what happens if we sing this song? The Aken-Ra hologram shifted, showing a diagram of Earth surrounded by a shimmering bubble. The shield will rise, but be warned. The activation requires a human to interface directly with the control crystal, enduring a neural resonance that few can survive. The singer must navigate the harmonic frequencies while resisting the ether's attempts to subvert the link. This was our final sacrifice. We left the bloodline of the first singers scattered among the world's peoples, carrying an ancestral memory coded in their DNA. One of you will feel the call. The hologram faded. The sphere pulsed and a narrow beam of light touched Amara's forehead. A flood of images cascaded through her mind. Stars, a burning desert, a woman with her face singing before a crystal just like this one, and a profound, bone-deep certainty that she was meant to be here. It's you, Elena said softly, watching the light linger. You're a descendant of Aken-Ra's lineage. The bloodline has been dormant, but the gene is active. Amara, a third-generation Cairn who had always felt an inexplicable pull toward the pyramid since childhood, felt tears sting her eyes. Her mother's bedtime stories about ancestors who whispered with the gods suddenly made terrifying, beautiful sense. She didn't have time to process the revelation. A violent tremor shook the chamber and Chen's radio blared. Major, alien troops have landed at Giza. Hundreds of them heading for the pyramid entrance. They're tearing through our perimeter. How long do we have? Amara asked. 15 minutes, maybe less. The Sphinx entrance is holding, but not for long. Amara looked at the sphere. She thought of her daughter in Alexandria, of the billions of people above her whose lives were about to be snuffed out like candle flames. She reached out and cupped the crystal. It was warm, humming against her palms like a living heart. I need to know the chant, she said. Elena, pull up the pyramid texts. Find me the utterance of resonance. Elena was already working, her fingers flying across her tablet. The ancient Egyptian priesthood had a ritual called the opening of the mouth, but it was a symbolic ceremony. Underneath the symbolism, there's a phonetic pattern, a sequence of vowels and tonal glides that matches the harmonic signatures Ibrahim detected in the pyramid's standing wave. That standing wave is the carrier frequency, Ibrahim said, pointing to his seismograph display. The pyramid is already resonating at 783 Hertz, the Earth's fundamental Schumann frequency. If you can harmonize the chant with that basal tone and then introduce the inverse phase modulation, you'll trigger the counter-resonance. I know the melody, Amara whispered, the ancestral memory blooming. She could hear it, a cascading series of notes that seemed to bypass her ears and directly ignite her mind. Chen drew his sidearm and moved to the chamber entrance. I'll buy you all the time I can. Just give me a world to go home to. He vanished into the corridor. The sound of gunfire soon echoed from above. Amara knelt before the sphere, placing both hands flat on its surface. The crystal grew transparent, filling with swirling light. I'll need you both to guide me. Ibrahim, monitor the planet's resonance. Elena, feed me the phonetic sequence as I go. I may lose myself in the neural interface. We're with you, Elena said, gripping her shoulder. Amara closed her eyes and began to sing. The first note was low, a deepa that seemed to vibrate from her stomach rather than her throat. The chamber responded. The obsidian walls shimmered and the star map brightened. Ibrahim's instruments went wild. She's locked onto the Schumann baseline. The planet is listening. Outside, the ether forces overran the Sphinx entrance. Black-armored soldiers with elongated limbs and featureless heads poured into the pyramid's inner passages. They moved with terrifying silence, their weapons disintegrating Egyptian guards into ash. Major Chen and his remaining squad fought with desperate fury, but they were being pushed back step by step toward the new chamber. Amara's voice rose, shifting into a series of glissando vowels that Elena prompted from the tablet's translation. A. Each syllable corresponded to a geometric frequency that realigned the pyramid's internal energy flow. The pedestal beneath the sphere began to rotate, and the star map zoomed in on Earth, showing the grid of pyramids across the globe lighting up one by one. In Mexico, tourists and soldiers sheltering near the Pyramid of the Sun saw the ancient structure suddenly glow with golden light. In China, the Qinling pyramids, long buried under soil and myth, emitted a harmonic hum that stopped the advancing alien landers in their tracks. Across the planet, the network was waking up, but the ether mothership noticed. The broadcast voice shifted from emotionless pronouncement to something sharper. You cannot use the gate. It is ours. Cease this primitive interference. A sudden psychic assault slammed into Amara's mind. The ether were trying to disrupt her, flooding her consciousness with white noise and terror. She screamed, the chant faltering. The sphere flickered. Stay with it, Elena shouted, steadying her. They're hacking your neural interface. You have to find the authentic memory, the human core they can't replicate. Amara fought through the static. The ancestral memory inside her unfurled like a lotus. She saw Akhon-Ra standing in this very chamber, singing the same chant while battle raged above. She felt his love for his people, his defiance, his hope that one day another singer would stand here and finish what he started. The emotion grounded her. The ether had no comprehension of love. It was purely biological data to them. But to humans, it was the most powerful frequency of all. She sang with renewed strength, her voice a blade of light. The chant became a crescendo, echoing not just in the chamber, but through the entire global grid. In Cairo, in New York, in Tokyo, in Lagos, people heard it, not through speakers, but inside their heads, a song of pure hope. The alien landers hesitated. Their sensors were flooded with feedback. Ibrahim watched his monitor, his face breaking into a wild grin. The planet's resonance is shifting. We're hitting the inversion frequency. It's working. The shield is forming. High above Earth, the atmosphere flickered. A shimmering curtain of auroral light spread from the poles, meeting at the equator and encasing the entire globe in a transparent, golden membrane. The ether mothership fired its main weapon, a beam of concentrated dark energy designed to crack the crust. It struck the shield and stopped. The energy didn't dissipate. It soaked into the membrane, swirling like liquid fire, and then with a thunderous harmonic chord, the shield reflected the beam back toward the alien vessel at 10 times the original intensity. The black spiral ship split in two. A secondary explosion rippled through the alien fleet, destroying the landers mid-descent. The psychic scream of a dying crew washed over humanity for a single instant, and then silence. In the chamber, the sphere's light softened. Amara finished the final note, her voice hoarse but triumphant. The star map shifted again, showing the alien wreckage scattering across the solar system. And beneath that, a new message appeared, etched in the universal language of mathematics, a set of coordinates and a new glyph, which Alina translated immediately. It's a star map to the ether home system, and the glyph means remember. Amara slumped, caught by Alina. Ibrahim stared at the display in awe. We didn't just repel an invasion, we inherited a weapon and a warning. The ancestors left us the means to defend ourselves, and now the galaxy knows it. Major Chen stumbled back into the chamber, his uniform torn and covered in soot, but alive. The aliens who breached the pyramid just disintegrated. Whatever you did, it fried their tech, all of it. The surface reports say every alien landed unit is down. We've won. Amara looked at the sphere, now resting quietly on its pedestal. No, we've just remembered who we are. In the weeks that followed, the world transformed. The United Nations, guided by the revelation from Giza, formed a global resonance command. Scientists and historians worked alongside the descendants of other ancient lineages, finding similar control nodes beneath the world's pyramids. Humanity learned to operate the planetary shield, a defensive grid stronger than any weapon, powered by Earth's own life force. It didn't drain the biosphere, it harmonized with it, encouraging growth, healing the damage of centuries of industrialization. The pyramids, it turned out, were not just weapons but ecological stabilizers. The ether had intended to harvest a living world. Humanity had learned to cherish it. Amara Khalil stood before the Great Pyramid 3 months later, watching the sunset gild the ancient stones. Her daughter, little Layla, played at her feet, drawing pictures of stars in the sand. The world was not without its dangers. Other threats loomed among the stars, and the ether confederacy still existed, though its power had been shattered. But humanity was no longer a blind, helpless species waiting for the slaughterhouse. They had a voice, a song, and a legacy. Alina approached, holding a data tablet. The translations continue. We found references to other human worlds, colonies seeded by the same civilization that built the pyramids. They weren't just from Earth. They explored the stars, and then something forced them back, maybe the ether. They left humans on dozens of planets, each with their own pyramid seed. They knew we'd be scattered, and they left us breadcrumbs to find each other. So we're not alone, Amara said. We never were. The universe is full of our cousins, and now we can call them home. Alina paused. What will we tell them? Amara smiled, picking up Layla and holding her close. We'll tell them the truth, that long ago monsters came from the dark and tried to turn us into food, but they made one mistake. They built their slaughterhouse out of stone, and stone remembers. More importantly, we remember. The true purpose of the pyramids was never to serve the gods. It was to remind us, across the ages, that we are the gods we've been waiting for. We prevailed once. We'll prevail again. That is the echo of Ra, the song of humanity. The light of the setting sun caught the capstone of the Great Pyramid, a reconstruction placed there by the new Egyptian government, made of gold and inscribed with a single word in ancient Egyptian. Jed, stability, endurance, and the million voices of a planet singing in harmony, forever defying the night. Humanity was not just a species. It was a fire that no harvest could ever truly extinguish.